Starting your novel is easier than you think. I'm going to share with you my top 7 writing tips that will kickstart your writing journey today. These are things that I wish someone had told me when I wanted to write a book and before I started writing my first novel. Did you know that around 80% of people want to write a book someday, but only a tiny fraction of those people will actually take the leap and start writing that book? So what's stopping you? Is it fear? Or maybe you don't know where to start? Today, I'm diving into a topic that's near and dear to all aspiring authors: how to start writing that book. Taking that first step is super important. So let's get right to it and dive right into this topic. Tip number 1 is brainstorm. Write down all of your ideas. Get a notebook, call this your idea notebook, and start writing in your idea notebook everything you can think of for that book that you want to write. Don't worry about complete sentences or grammar. Just let the ideas flow and get them into your notebook. Here are a few questions to kind of kickstart you and get you going that you can ask when you start doing the brainstorming process. What do you want to write? Why do you want to write it? Who is the protagonist? Who is the antagonist? What's the main conflict or challenge? Those are just a few questions to get you started. There's a lot more ideas that will come out of this brainstorming process. And remember that no idea, no matter how small the idea is unimportant. Write it down. Even if it's something super crazy, the crazy ideas sometimes turn into something really good in a book. Tip number 2 is know your target audience. Do some research. Find out who your audience is. And this starts with knowing what genre you're writing in, and then you can narrow that down to what age within that genre, but narrow down who your audience is. This will require a little research and learning something new. No matter where you are at in your journey, whether you are the aspiring writer that you probably are if you're watching this video, or if you've been writing for a while, learn something new. And researching your audience will require you to learn something new. Here are some questions to help you as you start researching who your audience is. What is your genre? What are the reader expectations of that genre? What writing style is expected? What is the expected length? I love to write, but I love to write books that people want to read even more. Tip number 3 is create an outline. I've spoken to a lot of aspiring authors who have read Stephen King's book on writing, and now they want to be a pantser, and now they're resistant to writing an outline. I'm not down on Stephen King's book on writing. In fact, I've read it, and I got a lot out of it. I thought it was an intriguing read. It was interesting and thought-provoking, but in no way do I want to emulate his writing style. I have my own writing style, and I've discovered after trying to be a pantser that an outline is super important and super helpful. I wish someone had told me to write an outline when I went to write my first book. It makes things so much smoother. And an outline doesn't have to be super detailed. It can be as simple or as detailed as you want to make it. But if you have an outline, it provides you with like a roadmap of where the story is going and where you want to end up as you start your writing journey. Dave and I would like to invite you to join us for a Write With Me, Us, live Monday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time.
We're going to have a little bit of discussion, then we're going to do a writing sprint. We'll come back after that. We'll answer a few questions, dialogue a little bit, maybe have another writing sprint. But we want to help you move your project forward as well as move our projects forward. We want to do that with a live Write With Me. Join us if you would.
Tip number 4 is create a writing schedule or routine. Now, this can be I'm going to write 500 words a day, or I'm going to write for an hour a day, or I'm going to write a chapter a day. Whatever that looks like for you, create that so you know what you're doing, and then what time of day works for you in your life. Are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? That may have a factor in it. What is that time of day that you can squeeze in that time to write in a busy schedule? That looks different for everybody, but create a routine or a writing schedule to help you stay consistent once you start writing. Tip number 5 is embrace the messy first draft. A first draft does not need to be perfect. In fact, it shouldn't be. It should be messy. So I like to say, allow yourself to write the first draft without self-editing. Now, my husband and my writing partner, he's a little bit different than me on that. You really got to figure out what works for you. But it's really important to embrace the fact that your first draft doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if there are spelling errors. It's okay if there are typos. You really want to focus on the first draft, getting the idea down, getting those words on paper, because then you can go back to your messy first draft. You can go back to it after you've completed your first draft, and then you revise, and then you fix things. Tip number 6 is save your work. This may seem like it doesn't need to be said, but it's really important. Save a backup copy of your work. You do not want to get a lot written and then have something happen and it's gone. That's happened to me, really. It's really painful. So save your work. Writing tip number 7 is don't be in a hurry. Writing takes time. It takes a lot of time. And when you think you're done with your novel or your book, it's probably not done. There's so much that goes into writing a book, and just realize that you need to be at peace with the fact that it takes time. You will write and rewrite and revise and rewrite again. Embrace that. Enjoy the process and embrace it. Now I want to share with you a story that might encourage and inspire you. There was this woman, and she dreamed of writing a book her entire life. And one day she decided that she was going to write 500 words a day. And she started writing 500 words a day. And she did it every day. When she felt discouraged, she said, no, I'm going to write those 500 words a day. And at the end of the year, she had completed her manuscript. She did what she always dreamed of doing because she took that first step and she started writing her book. That first step to start writing your book is super important. But by doing that and staying consistent, you can do great things. Remember that every writer faces challenges of a variety of kind, but if you stay consistent, create your writing schedule and your writing routine, and you stick with it, you can write your book. I believe in you. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you at in your writing journey? Have you started writing your book? Or are you still at the place of just dreaming about writing your book? Let me know in the comments, and I would love to chat with you and encourage you as you start writing your book. I will catch you in the next video.